So for everyone who's here, we have special guests tonight. Alex and Helena are, um, like I was saying earlier, our Spikenard power couple. Alex is the farm manager at Spikenard Honeybee Farm, which is the farm that we're donating all the money to from the knit along, which at this point is how much, Kaya? Like,
I
6
believe,
hives worth.
yeah, well, about,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
almost there, guys. Almost.
Nice, wow.
yeah. And then Helena, of course, is our special protege who everyone's watched grow up through the years that she modeled for us and worked here in the business. And she went off a few years ago to do an internship at Spikenard Honeybee Farm and fell in love with Alex, and now they're married. So we all have special connection to them. In addition to, it's just a really cool and worthy recipient of whatever we can do for them. So they're here to tell us a little bit, talk to us about the farm and show us some pictures, and take it away, you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, can I just say one more thing? Alex just published a book, and which you can tell us about that too. Push your book.
You have one?
No. Yeah, it's funny that I don't have one right here in my office because they're shipping now all around the world, which is really fun. So yeah, maybe I can tell you a little bit more about that later, but yes, Spikenard Farm has been here since 2006 in Floyd, Virginia. So we're up in the mountains. We have the little river runs around us on all 3 sides, and it's wooded, and there's pastures as well. It's a really beautiful landscape. And the Honeybee Sanctuary is on 41 acres, and it is sort of this model honeybee haven. It's a place where the honeybees are given the utmost care, all that they need first. And we're growing on our 41 acres tons and tons of flowers and forage, so that throughout the season from February through November or so, we'll have different things coming into bloom the whole course of the year. And then we also offer the bees bee-centric beekeeping practices. So rather than putting the human being first and saying, I want to get all this honey and I want to get all this wax and I want to get everything I can out of the bees, we're more saying, how can we give to the bees? How can we serve them in their instincts and in their health and in their vitality, and then receive what they can truly give to us as a true surplus? Like honey, for example, is something that the bees can give almost every year, more than they need. But we always let them have what they need first. And so with our beekeeping practices, it kind of goes all the way through the gamut, from what kind of hive we put the bees into, to the way that we treat the earth and care for the land. But our focus is really to support those wonderful pollinators, the honeybees, and all the native pollinators as well. So there's 72 species of native bees here in this area of Virginia who we also love and plant flowers for. And of course the hummingbirds and butterflies and moths and the flies and the beetles, and we love insects. Some people might be squeamish with that, and that's totally fine. You don't have to love them as much as we do, but we certainly appreciate you supporting them, as they are the very basis of our ecosystems. The life as we know it depends on the diversity of insects keep the plants healthy and up and down the food chain. So we're really here in service of the bees first and foremost, and this wonderful project that you're donating to the Build a Hive program is something that we're really excited about too, because it is connecting us to our wider community as well. So we were the first honeybee sanctuary in the United States and also in the world. But now, since we've been founded in 2006, there have been sanctuaries popping up all around the country, all around the region, all around the world, inspired by our activity and our work. And so these budding sanctuaries often need a little bit of support. And so our Build a Hive program is to see how can we support all of those sanctuaries to make hives that are bee-centric, that are good for the bees, available to those people that want to keep bees in their land and provide a sanctuary for them. So it's amazing that, you know, there's now potentially 6 sanctuaries that get a new hive from the contributions that you all have given. And it's a wonderful way that you're supporting us to also make an impact in the wider community, so that it's not just Spikenard Farm and a little bubble that you're supporting, but really it's a whole network of people who are working in service and in support of the bees and the pollinators. So I'm just so overjoyed and grateful for that support and to be connected with all of you. It was funny because we teach a lot of online webinars as well. So this Zoom format is something that we're pretty familiar with, teaching beekeeping to people all around the world, all different countries. And yeah, when I heard that you all were having this knit along, I was like, oh my God, it's so perfect, because most of the beekeeping students are knitting during my webinars. So I feel right at home here. And yeah, thank you so much again for inviting us and for supporting Spikenard. And I'm happy to share pictures if you're interested to see some photos of the place. Should I do that now?
Sure thing. I just want to tell you one little thing that's really cute too. We had these special stitch markers made that went out with the knitting kits that we sold, that are a little gold queen bee on a hexagonal ring, so you can mark your knitting with it. And the woman who makes them is out in, well, she's in Michigan, and she donates and I found this out afterward, and just happenstance, she donates a portion of her proceeds to a different honeybee sanctuary somewhere else. I just thought,
Wow.
oh, that's just perfect, you know. So she was super excited to work with us too. So needless to say, we're ordering other products from her for other things. So
beautiful. Okay, well, maybe I'll share my screen just so that you can get a sense of where we are in the world and what our land looks like. Can everybody see that okay?
yeah.
Yeah, those pictures coming up.
They are on my screen.
Yeah, I can see it.
So yeah. Great. So this building that we're sitting in is actually the one pictured here. It is called the Bee Barn. So I'll just bring my mouse over there. Helena and I are sitting right over here. And in front of us and all around us is the Honeybee Sanctuary. And so the sanctuary is just full of vibrant life and activity. And the flowers, of course, are everywhere we go. And it's basically a buzz. If you go outside anytime during the growing season, especially at like the time of the year pictured here, which is like June, July, it's just, it sounds, people get this feeling when they walk through our gate of just this comforting hum of activity and work. And the diligence of all of the bees doing their activities and gathering nectar and pollen is just something that is a very special thing to connect to when you come here on very many levels. So our bees are really the heart and the center of the activity, and teaching people both how to keep bees and how to care for the land in a way that serves their needs the best. And a lot of it is really about relationship and helping people have a positive relationship as much as possible with the bees, and a positive relationship with nature, and focusing more on life, on supporting life processes than using things like herbicides or pesticides and those sort of death agents that have become such a big part of our modern agriculture, but that really don't serve the whole food system or even the whole ecology of any region. So in supporting of the bees, the bees are so sensitive, and the butterflies and bumblebees, we've lost 95% of the bumblebee species in the last 20 years in the United States. And a lot of it has to do with the pesticides, but also with loss of habitat. And so much of this requires us as human beings to come into a relationship again with these creatures and see what they need and what we can do to support their life. So that's something that we have a real joy with. Of course, with the honeybees, they are a domesticated insect. So in a way, they let us come into a relationship differently than the wild bees do. So yeah, we have groups out here. We have students coming through. We just had a group of 8th graders from Atlanta. 22 of them came and visited us for a week at Spikenard Farm. So we work with people of all ages, and always exciting to introduce people to bees. The safest place to introduce somebody to a bee is on a flower, because the bees are just not aggressive at all. They're just going about their work and activity. So some pictures of bees and flowers, some of their favorite foods. Easy things to grow in your garden as well. This is catnip. Those of you who have cats might be familiar with catnip, or yeah, many people are familiar with that plant. But it's a wonderful forage for the bees. Or poppies. In the early morning, sometimes you'll see 9 or 10 bees in one single flower. It's just amazing activity. And sage. So sage and lavender and all of these different herbs that are medicine for human beings are also a medicine for the bees. The nectar and the pollen that the bees get from a plant like sage, for example, is mixed into the honey, and that helps to keep them healthy and strong through the whole year. So things that we can plant for them that have medicinal value are also so important for keeping the bees healthy, so that they come through the winter eating that honey and come into the spring strong and healthy, because the honey has been harvested from all of these wonderful flowers. Echinacea is another wonderful native plant that the bees love, and the hummingbirds love, and the butterflies love. The dandelion, one of the most important ones of spring. So we really have like a medicine cabinet here at Spikenard Farm. Our whole acreage is devoted to all different types of flowers, some planted in big swaths and big fields, and then others that are more like the medicine cabinet. So we moved onto this mountaintop 12 years ago, and it was just a cow pasture when we arrived. So everything in these pictures has been planted or built in the last 12 years.
How long have you worked there, Alex?
I've been here for 8 years, since 2014 I arrived. Yeah. And I just wanted to show you also the sun hives that the Build a Hive program is supporting. It's in the upper right. In the upper right-hand corner of the screen here is a sun hive. And also because we want to support beekeepers with their preference. So different beekeepers like to keep bees in different styles of hives, and we want to share methods of beekeeping that work really well for all of them. So we keep bees in all these different styles as well. But the upper right-hand corner, the sun hive, is one that's very special to us. And those are the hives that we're fundraising for, because they're one of the most bee-centric types of hives. They really support the health and vitality of the bees. And this is a little sketch here that was made by the founder of that hive style, whose name was Günter Manke, who experienced a wild swarm of bees that had landed in a branch and then created this wax structure around them. And it gave him this picture of how the bees would build their hive all themselves. Usually the bees move into an empty cavity, but this particular hive sort of built their own kind of hive out of wax. And he saw the form of it, and it gave him the idea of the sun hive, which is a woven basket. So we weave the baskets here out of rye straw, and we grow the rye straw here as well. So here's us doing our weaving process last year. And those are the finished baskets. So we weave a basket for the bottom, a basket for the top, and then all of the woodenware that fits inside helps us to be beekeepers with these beautiful baskets. So we have arched wooden bars inside of those hives so that we can pull out the hives and work with them. And then we cover those baskets with cow dung, clay, and straw on the outside to make it nice and thick and well insulated so that the bees stay nice and warm all winter long. And also the insulated walls keeps them cool in the summer. And so here's one of them with bees active in it. They're just really beautiful hives to build, to work with, to support, and to be able to share these with the community, to make more of them. So these are the type of hives that really support the bees in their instincts, in their wisdom, in their health, which is why we're trying to support them as much as we can. We're really trying to support the bees as much as we can, and those people who want to join in our work in service of the bees. These are some of the bars with combs inside the hives. What they look like when you open up and pull them out and do an inspection, make sure that they're healthy and strong. So they build this beautiful free-form comb down into this egg-shaped cavity. Yeah. That's the sun hive.
And why did he name it a sun
Just a
hive?
little picture of your sun hive. I think in German the name is something like Weissenhaven Hängenkorb. I'm not a German speaker, so I don't know exactly, but it means like hanging basket hive. And when it first got popular in England, and the Natural Beekeeping Trust in England named it the Sun Hive. A little easier to say for English speaking folks. Yeah.
Does this sort of hive protect against bears because it's lifted up?
Yeah, it's usually lifted up, and it's often protected with some structure around it. So, but in itself, the hive itself is maybe just as vulnerable to bears as any other hive would be.
Most hives aren't particularly bear proof in themselves,
Okay.
but more like what they're on or inside, or like the fencing or
Mhm.
Straps.
the straps. Those
Yeah.
are things that can
Right.
be done. Make 'em
Thank
work.
you.
Can I ask a question?
Of
My name
course,
is my name is Cindy. I'm in Calgary, Alberta, and my daughter is a beekeeper on a much smaller level. And I'm finding this fascinating, and I know she would too. I think beekeeping has a few more challenges here, but it's very interesting. I'm wondering if I can get your website or your contact information that I could pass on to her.
Yeah, of course. Should I put that in the chat maybe, or you find a way to connect through Anne, or
Yeah,
I
sure.
actually
Jen.
put the link in the chat already. So if you
Mm-hmm.
just press the chat function, it should be the only message there.
Thank
And
you.
I think it appears in every email that we send out for the Mystery Knit Along, which I know people aren't getting some of their emails still, but just about every email we send out has a link to the honeybee farm.
Thank you very much. I got it.
Great, thank you.
The website is
Yeah,
beautiful.
We're just redoing it too, so it's going to be even
Mhm.
more beautiful soon.
And you sell some of the products that you make there at the farm, right? You want to tell us about that, or?
Yeah, some of the products we make from so yeah, we have like a beeswrap food wrap. So it's like the reusable beeswax wrap. We make that from our own beeswax and organic cotton fabric. And then we make salves and lotion bars. So healing products from the beehive for your skin. And then we have a few different beekeeping products that we sell for beekeepers.
And your book. And your book.
And my book, yeah. So my book is a product. Yeah, it's called A Lively Hive. And it's really the book that I wish I had when I started beekeeping, which is why I wrote it in the first place, because there was no really basic ABC beekeeping that was bee-centric in the way that felt right. And a lot of the bee-centric beekeeping books are advanced beekeeping books. Like our founder, Günter Haug, wrote a book called Towards Saving the Honeybee, which is also available on our website and wonderful to read. But Towards Saving the Honeybee is a little bit more of like the bigger picture philosophy and the approach to beekeeping that we take here at Spikenard Farm. But the book that just came out in the spring, A Lively Hive, that I wrote, is really like, if you're trying to get started beekeeping, it's a guide and a basic manual for the ABCs of all you need to know to get bees and to bring them through a whole 4 seasons of beekeeping, through a full year and beyond.
It has lots of great pictures.
Yeah, great pictures,
Easy to read.
diagrams. It's on nice paper. We like
Yeah.
it a lot. Yeah.
And your Instagram feed is also really nice too. You've got constant sort of little films and updates for people that
Yeah.
are really great. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about the philosophy of the beekeeping that you do? Like it's biodynamic based, right? Is
Right.
it? Yeah. So do you want to kind of tell everybody a little bit about that? If you can, gather it
Yeah.
all up.
Sure. Yeah, I think the general picture that comes through from biodynamic beekeeping is that it really honors the hive as an organism and as a whole. So much of the way that conventional beekeeping understands the honeybee and the honeybee colony is sort of more akin to a mechanism where you have different parts that can be replaced, like a queen and workers and a drone and comb, and you just exchange one thing for the other. But in biodynamic beekeeping, we really look at a more holistic picture of the hive and the different parts of the hive as organs of a greater organism. And we're trying to support the health of the bees through trying to understand how that organism functions most efficiently in the most healthy way. How does the organism of the honeybee hive meet challenges of disease, of climate change, of inclement weather, of all of the different things that meet the bees when they go out and meet the world, polluted air and water and so on and so forth, have all really put the bees in danger, which is why we're losing so many hives on a yearly basis. The average over the last 10 years in the United States is like 55% losses on average. At the Honeybee Sanctuary, the counterpoint, I guess, is that we've only lost 12% of hives in the same time period in the last 10 years. And like last year, we had 30 hives going into the winter, or 31 hives going into the winter, and we came through with 30. We only lost one of our colonies. And that is pretty consistent that our bees are really thriving here, that the term a lively hive also means that we're keeping our bees alive and thriving and healthy, as opposed to becoming annual beekeepers, which unfortunately is a lot more common now, where people's bees die every single winter and they have to buy new bees again in the spring. And there's so much in the conventional mode of beekeeping that works against the instincts and the health of the bees, including moving the bees, trucking them around from one monoculture to the other, giving them plastic foundation instead of wax to build or to lay their eggs into and to do all of their work. Feeding sugar is one of the most detrimental things that we can do for the bees' metabolism. Sugar and high fructose corn syrup are commonly fed to the bees, and honey is taken more than the bees can give. So the beekeeper is then forced to feed sugar back to the bees, and then the bees get all of these metabolic issues, and they get dysentery and diarrhea and different things like that from the sugar feeding, and then their immune system gets lower, and then they're more susceptible to mites and diseases and different things like that. So our approach, when we compare the beekeeping that we're doing to the conventional beekeeping, we do almost everything different. Every little aspect of supporting the bees and their health and in their vitality it's sort of what we take into account. So we let them build their own wax. We let them reproduce naturally through the process of swarming. We let them raise their own queens rather than artificially raising queens and plugging them into the beehive killing the old one and putting the new one in, which is a conventional, like a very common beekeeping practice that you learn in your beekeeping club. So it's a type of beekeeping that is proven to be really successful and to work, and that's why we're so grateful to have a community of other beekeepers who are also having success with the same methods, but in a different parts of the country and different parts of the world. So people are applying these biodynamic methods that are outlined in the book and in our webinars and, you know, in our information that we share. It's really to try to help beekeepers really be successful in keeping their bees healthy and alive and vibrant. Yeah. So
Does anybody have questions for for these guys? You can put your hand up in Zoom and we can. You've lulled everyone with your beautiful presentation into their knitting rhythm.
perfect.
Well, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to come on here and really just show us what a great opportunity this fundraiser is. I'm so excited about how much we raised so far and also about all the great things happening at the sanctuary. Beekeeping is all really new to me, so just sitting on here and listening, I've learned more in like the last 30 minutes than my entire life. So thank you.
And in case it wasn't super clear, people can visit the sanctuary. So for those who live in the vicinity of Floyd, Virginia, or people who might be traveling through, just don't bring your pesticides along. It's really beautiful there, and we welcome visitors at certain hours. I mean, it's not open all the time, but.
And there's more
Robin's
information
got a
on
question.
the website about the open days.
What's that, Helena?
Robin,
There's more information about the open days on the website. if you
Well,
wanna come.
on the website. Yeah, cool. Robin?
Yes, so my husband is here and he's always wanted to be a beekeeper, but obviously we aren't. We live in a city and we'd have to petition our neighbors, and there's no way he's going to do that and ask their permission. So in your book, he wants to know if the diagram for that sun hive is shown in there.
Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, I have specific workshops, like there's recorded webinars and things where I've taught about that, but there's also other resources available online for the Sun Hive that we can point you to.
Yeah, he's not going to build it because he'd have to ask the neighbors.
Right.
if we can have bees, so that it's not going to happen, but he's so interested in that. We've gone to quite a few lectures about beekeeping, and that we've never seen that before. So that was really, really cool.
Wonderful.
Yep. Thank you.
Robin.
Yep.
So he just has to Google it, Robin.
I know. And he keeps telling you, remember what he told you, Ann. To tell her, remember what I told her
What? I don't remember.
about bringing it to the next one.
Uh-huh. Al grows garlic, and he's been cultivating his garlic through several of us. So several of us are Garlic Al's satellite gardeners.
I like
Yeah.
to share.
He likes to share. And we don't use any pesticides or herbicides, none of that in
Yeah.
our yard, in our garden, because we had a dog. She's not
Yeah.
with us anymore, but you know what I mean? And we had kids, so.
Yeah, you don't need it. And you
No.
and you don't
No,
need
no,
it.
no. Nope.
fish food.
Thanks, Robin.
Anybody else have a question or just curious about anything that you might want to ask these guys?
That was very interesting. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so
Enjoyed
much.
that.
It's so good to see you guys.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be back again at some point later on.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll let them choose maybe the contest winner for the name.
For the
I-
name.
I have a question, but I was late and I can't figure out how to raise.
Oh,
my-
go ahead, Elizabeth.
I was late, so you may have already covered this. How often do you extract the honey? Just once a year or?
Yeah, it's just basically once a year that we extract and sell the honey. It's in the spring after the dandelion has come into bloom and the apple orchard has come into bloom. That's the time when the bees have had all that they needed to survive the winter. And when the dandelion comes into bloom, it's such an important nectar source for the bees that they actually turn away from the winter stores and just focus on what's available in the spring with the dandelion. So that's the time when you know what is the true surplus, what the bees didn't need to make it through the winter months. And that's when we harvest honey. So our honey harvest is in April or May usually.
Okay.
Cynthia had a question, but our hand's down now, so I don't know if it's been answered.
Well, I had a question. It's probably a dumb question, but I've been had read something about buying flowering plants, like we buy our hanging geraniums and things like that at big box stores, and that they might have been treated with something that's harmful to bees. So I've been avoiding doing that. Is that a real thing?
Yeah, definitely. They're making a lot of those sorts of plants that are more and more able to take pesticides and herbicides and things like that without damaging that specific plant that they're trying to sell. But unfortunately, it does damage all the pollinators that come to visit.
Oh dear, that's terrible. So how can you tell?
How can you tell? I think it's often written on the label. I mean, anybody who's trying to do something good usually writes neonicotinoid free.
Okay, so look for that.
So
Thanks.
look for that, or yeah, at the farmers markets and things like that. There's definitely. I mean, we also have on our webpage a list of plants that are specifically good for the bees, but I think even like, roses, of course, are good for the bees, but not every rose that's sold is good for the bees. Like we were just saying, there's some that are impregnated with genetic modification with different genes, and it changes the whole of the plant so that it's no longer, the pollen is no longer nourishing for the bees.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, we're doing crazy things to nature, that's for sure.
Thank you.
And that applies to our own food supply as well, not just bees. but,
Right.
Right.
all of our own food.
Jeez.
Well, I don't have a question, and Anne might have already covered this, but I just want to thank Helena. Hi, nice to meet you virtually, guys, by the way. We've been corresponding through email, so it's like a face with a name. So Helena actually modeled the Shaw. We won't give anything away, but she did a fabulous job. I love the photos, and eventually they will be released. But for now, it's still a mystery.
When it comes time to reveal the way it looks, she'll be the star of the show.
Star.
Well, it was very fun we took the pictures here at the sanctuary, so that's something I'm excited about.
Yeah,
Everybody getting to see that.
right, with bees on it and
On
everything.
it.
Yeah.
Blew me away. I was just clicking through those like, wow, yes,
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh,
Turns out that Helena's a fantastic beekeeper, so
Yeah.
Just put a shawl on her and she'll just.
We didn't open any hives with the shawl. That would have
The
been.
bee whisperer.
We should, we should, I know we should get a hive where we live. I know other of our neighbors have them, and we have a big enough city lot where we could have one even without permission. But, one thing I was wondering is when you build the hives that we're donating for, would we be able to like yarn bomb them or graffiti them with some little knitted things to like sign them, like to sign them from us? So I had mentioned it to our group, and yeah, you might be getting like a box of little swatches or something from us that you could tie on or decorate the hive with.
So neat. Yeah. That would be really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, the knitted graffiti is so interesting because it will last forever in the wild, seemingly. It can withstand a lot of weather. And so sometimes, I know in New York, sometimes like someone would put something on a tree and the tree would grow and grow and the wool would stretch, with it until eventually at some point it would pop, but it would be like years. You would see this little thing on a tree, and it's kind of cool for the recipient to have that little origin stamp or whatever.
Yeah, that would be so special.
Yeah.
Heather's got a question. Go ahead, Heather. Unmute.
Thanks. I wondered about bees and cell phone towers, because I'd heard that cell phone towers are harmful to the bees, and I live fairly near to one. So does that mean that I should not plant things to encourage bees where I live?
I think it's challenging because the research is not quite thorough yet, especially in the United States. In Europe, they have a little bit more clarity on that, but the research shows that the cell phone towers do affect the electromagnetic radiation of your given landscape, and those electromagnetic pathways are what the bees follow in relationship to the sun when they're navigating. So a cell phone tower can definitely disorient bees, and I think that's, at least in my knowledge so far, that seems to be the greatest danger, is that the bees then maybe don't return home very well. But I think it's hard to say if I wouldn't plant forage for the bees and pollinators in your area because there was a cell phone tower close by. Only because I would expect that that bees and other insects will have to find a way as we go into the future to orient toward those sorts of things, and they're probably evolving a relationship to it that is beyond our understanding already. But we have certainly found that in areas where there are cell phone towers, that people have kept bees successfully, and their planting have been really enjoyed and appreciated by the pollinators who have come to visit those flowers. So
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. My personal opinion is you can't go wrong with planting more flowers for the bees.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
And there are always other insects that benefit from them too. So butterflies and.
Yeah, we get a lot of butterflies for sure. We get some bees and bumblebees and things, but I wasn't sure about the cell phone tower. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's my excuse for not mowing my lawn in the spring.
Elizabeth.
It's full of dandelions, and I'm like, I'm feeding the bees, everybody, leave me alone. I'd never make it in an HOA. So
Good for you.
All right, does anyone have any other questions?
Yes. Gika?
Gika?
I just wanted, it's not so much a question as to recommend a book to y'all. There's a guy named, I think it's Doug Ptolemy or something like that. He wrote a book called Nature's Best Hope. And he has another book since then, but he talks about the idea that, you know, we want to preserve nature and we have all these national parks and state parks and things like that. But our backyards, our yards in the US really have the equivalent of multiple national parks. So if we plant appropriately within our plants, within our yards and our neighborhoods, that we can really, really make a difference. And he talks a lot about the native plants and trees that are beneficial to insects, not just to bees, but to other little animals that really make a difference in our environment. So it's called Nature's Best Hope, and it's got a lot of his ideas in it, plus some practical information about specific trees and plants that are helpful in this regard.
Thank you for that.
Sounds wonderful.
Mhm.
This will probably give people some ideas for naming the shawl at some point.
Yeah, so we keep referring to that, but along the way, if you come up with a name that you think would be good for the shawl, you could just email that to us. You know, give us a little background so it just doesn't come as a name, and we'll add it to the list, and at some point we'll consolidate the list and put it out there, maybe either do a community vote or we'll vote among the staff or something, or we'll let these guys pick the best name for the shawl. And there aren't too many rules. I mean, an 8-word name generally is a little difficult to work with. So something short and clever and clippy is usually best. And if you have the ability to get on Ravelry to see if your name is already taken, that's also helpful. A lot of the most obvious things that jump to mind are already taken.
So get creative.
Yeah. So if you could do that for us, that would be great. People love little clever plays on words and clever, you know, uses of the concept and stuff like that. So. And there's a prize. There's a prize for the persons whose name is picked. Get something.
Get your thinking going here.
Yeah, it's not a diamond ring or anything like that. Just
10B markers. That'd be fun.
It's a dump truck full of honey on your doorstep.
Oh, that's even better.
Can you imagine opening your door and sorry, I have a sick sense of humor.
So where are we supposed to send name ideas?
Oh, you could just send it to Jeeves, you know, the Jeeves, the all-purpose Jeeves mailbox, jeeves@knitspot.com.
To make it easier, I might create a survey that everyone can just go in and include the names, so all the names will be listed there.
Okay.
So
yeah, then
we still have a little bit of time. Yeah, but
that's a good idea.
You guys will receive an email about that either, you know, when the clue comes out or when I send the Saturday email that includes the YouTube link. So.
Yeah. But if you want to submit an idea, you can just send it to Jeeves and So what do you guys have on your agenda the rest of the night? You probably have to go back to work or something, huh?
Yeah, it turns out that I'm making garlic scape pesto for the event tomorrow, and the bread just came out of the oven, but got a few more things to set up for people to arrive here. We're
Good thing you don't
planning
live
for
here.
about,
I have a gigantic package of garlic scapes that I picked. We don't eat them, but our neighbors do. So they're sitting in the refrigerator waiting for our neighbors to get back from vacation. But I would have gladly given them to you. There's like 150 of them or something. There's a lot.
Wow. Nice.
Wow. I don't know. That festival's sounding awfully fun, Kaya. A solstice
Wait, what is
festival.
it?
It's a weekend long solstice festival. I know. I was like, it's just a little ways off track on the way home from Cincinnati to go over there.
Is it? Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh, wait, Friday.
Starts tomorrow, right?
That's tomorrow.
Oh, starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow
Okay,
morning,
I can't
yeah.
keep my days straight. It's just MKAL every day. That's all I know.
I know. I know. The last week has been kind of hellacious with mystery knit along stuff going on, but
That sounds really fun.
Yeah,
The
it does.
festival.
It does.
Mhm.
I mean, garlic scape pesto.
I know, that's all I needed to hear. I was like, what's the address?
So you just do it raw. You don't have to do anything with it.
Right. Yeah. A nut, some olive oil, and cheese if you like.
Yeah, like
salt. Yeah. Delicious. Yeah.
I might experiment with some of that. That sounds good.
To let us know how it turns out.
And is it more like a hors d'oeuvre spread, or do you actually eat it on pasta, like regular pesto, or?
Yeah.
Either one.
Either one.
Oh, okay.
Depends how much you like garlic.
I guess you're both gonna be eating it.
Yeah.
Just to stay even.
Right. And 30 more people maybe, so we'll all be in the same boat.
But they
Add
don't
2
live
more.
with you.
Right.
Giga has her hand up again. What is
Yeah.
it?
Well, this doesn't have much to do with bees. I just wanted to say out loud how much I'm enjoying this knit along. I had to start over because I got off track, and I'm really glad I did. But the yarn is so nice. I'm using the Targi Tango Sport.
Yeah.
And I think, Anne, that you're just ruining me for any other yarns.
Thank you.
It's just like, I don't want to
that's my
knit with
mission.
anything else.
That's the point.
Yeah, and I used to mostly work with something like merino or whatever, and I remember a friend talking about she wasn't that interested in merino. She liked other more sheepy wools or something like that. And now I get it. So thank you. It's
Yeah.
really a pleasure.
I think Robin can add to that. She was, we were having this discussion last week or so, where it gets to the point where the color doesn't even matter. It's just like, ooh, what sheep are we working with this week?
It's spoiling you in a good way.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, you guys. I know you have to probably go off and do something, and you're welcome to stay, but I feel like, I don't want to keep you or anything, but thank you so much for coming.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for all that you're
Wonderful.
doing. This is really special.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to everybody.
Thank you.
The support.
I hope we get to see you.
Thanks.
I hope we get to see you sooner than later.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll pop on again for sure.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know if you're coming up this way. If you're coming to visit or anything. Keep us.
We will.
We sure will.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
That was super interesting.
Aren't they the cutest?
I was gonna say, like,
Oh, darling.
hearts go out. Couple of the year.
It's like the new generation of hippies.
Yeah.
Except they're way smarter than we were.
Well, it helps to take the edge, listening to them describe everything. I had cast on Squall with my Kent lace from the, what do you call it?
Farm box.
Yeah, and I meant to cast on the small, and I must have cast on the large by mistake, which is something I've done before.
Elizabeth, you have a real.
I know.
for
I know.
that.
Anyway, I got all the way through hem A and hem B, and I'm tearing it out. I got
No way.
Yes way. Here it is, being torn out.
Why? Oh, because it's just going to be gigantic on you, or
I don't
or-
need it that gigantic, and it's just a mistake.
Elizabeth, I so appreciate you talking about Knit Companion.
Oh,
I watched the video because I missed the first the first mystery session, and I went and watched it, and you were talking about Knit Companion, and I have it, but I wasn't using it to its potential, and I'm still not, but I went and looked at it and looked at those tutorials, and I'm a lot better off, and it's because of you.
well, good. Now, are you using, do you have the full version or the free version?
No, I have the full one because I
Okay.
was going to write on my patterns because that's what I do to my my bot patterns. I'll just write all over them with the things that I'm doing because I never make a pattern without changing something, size wise, especially.
Right.
But
Have you started using magic markers?
Yes.
Aren't they wonderful?
Oh my word! I had no idea.
I'm getting in the habit of doing that all the time because it just counts all the stitches for you. Let me see if I have one here that's.
And that chart where you can take your chart and put it on the page, and all you got to do is say next, and it moves up. You don't ever have to touch it or anything. So I told my husband I wanted an iPad for my birthday next Sunday, so that I can have even more function ability with a bigger screen. Right now I'm just using my iPhone.
It is the number one use of my iPad is looking at my knitting charts. reading,
Yeah. I told him,
knitting.
I said, well, I don't need a pro or the new fancy one they've come out with. I said, I think just a basic iPad because I'm not going to be playing games and, or artist or anything, so I'll see if I get one. If I don't, I'm buying it myself.
What
Good for
really
you,
helped,
Wanda.
what really helped me was with the mystery knit along, because the pattern is not symmetrical. And so you might have 7 stitches here, 7 knit stitches here, and 8 knit stitches there. Is when you use magic marker and it counts. So let me get up.
Now, see, I haven't quite got that down yet. I wanted it to tell me how many spaces, because we talked about that last time too. And somebody said, well, just put the directions, the written directions down in your in that bottom area. What is that?
Yeah,
you can put those down
in your notes, but you can do it with magic marker in like a blink of an eye. And can I show the pattern on here real quick? Just a part of it.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if you can see this. I'll try to hold it up. But do you see the numbers?
Oh, there it is.
Where
Yes.
you see the numbers? That's magic markers, and it's telling me I have 10 knit stitches between those 2 cross stitches.
I couldn't figure out how to do that. Which one did you watch?
Go to Knit Companion, then click on tutorials, and then click on markers, I think. Let me
Because
bring
I thought I wanted to do that because she does that when she does the color work. I'm talking about Very Pink. She has a bunch of videos. But she does that on those, like, if you have rows of the same stitch, you can select that stitch and it'll tell you how many is in that row if it's above 6.
Well, here, when you first go to Knit Companion, you get the option to pick, do you have Android or Apple?
Right.
And so
right.
I click on the Apple, and then I go down, and do you see the tutorials?
Yes,
Right
I
there.
visited that, but I didn't know what to ask. You know, you got to know the word to say.
Yeah, if you once you click on tutorials, there are tabs underneath. And when you look at the tabs underneath, can you see that? I don't know if you can see it or not. One of them says magic markers.
Move it over a little bit. You're right there, right there. Now look up. Yeah, markers.
Yeah, so you click on magic markers, and then you get a menu that looks like this. Oh, I can't see what I'm doing.
Up a little bit. Up a little. Oh, right there.
There.
Intro using. Okay.
Yeah, and just go through those. They're only a couple minutes a piece, and it will tell you how to use the magic markers.
Ooh, I'm going to do that. Thank you so much.
And it's, yeah, and it only takes it doesn't even take a minute to set them up, and everything's counted.
Yeah, you ought to see me straining to figure out at a distance from my easy chair over to the iPhone, trying to count those little squares.
Right, right.
Okay,
Well,
thanks, Elizabeth.
Back in the day, I used to use highlighter tape on my chart. You know, I'd pull off
Yes,
highlighters and peel it off and move it up. And I'm like, I don't even remember how I found out about Knit Companion, but it was probably through Ravelry. And then at that point in time, you only could use it with an iPad. And I'm like, I am getting myself an iPad. And that was the only reason I got an iPad, was for Knit Companion. So
I really missed you, Wanda, when you weren't here.
yeah.
Well, thank you. I enjoy all of knitting with y'all because I'm here by myself most of the day. So this is great.
I always miss your spirited delivery.
Yeah.
All right, I'm muting myself.
I will too.
So we've got a bunch more people now. And in case anybody was wondering what's been going on, Alex and Helena were here as visiting guests from the Spikenard Honeybee Sanctuary, which is the where we're donating the funding that we're raising from the knit along. And they talked to us for about an hour, showed pictures of the farm, answered some questions, and it was all recorded. So if you weren't able to get here earlier, you can see it all on the YouTube recording later on. It usually takes a couple days to get those out, by the way. So I know last week everybody was like, where's the YouTube recording? But Kaya aims to get it out over the weekend with an email. So she does a really nice job editing out, stuff we don't need and silly jokes and stuff like that. Well, at the beginning, we're usually waiting for people to come on, things like that. So anyway, it was really, really lovely to have them. And I think they're going to be back for a second visit later in the knit along, and maybe for that one, we can have them come in later or something, more closer to 6:30 or 7, something like that, when most of the people are here. Does anybody have pattern questions or any other actual knitting questions that they are struggling with?
Just comment. It's Nadine here. Just to comment, this is just a beautiful, beautiful pattern. I've been enjoying knitting it.
Thank you. I know it doesn't look like much at this point, but all will be revealed as it should be in a mystery knit along.
Exactly.
Constance, what's your question?
Okay, so on this clue 2, we sort of, because I kept the markers to for the 32 stitch repeat, because it's the only thing that kept me on track. And all of a sudden it shifted one. when it went,
Mhm.
when it went to this right twist.
Uh-huh.
So it was that
And
supposed to
that's why
happen?
and that's why the pattern says that the markers are not recommended. You can use markers,
Okay.
but you need to know that when twist stitches cross over and borrow from one repeat to another, you're going to need to move your
Right.
marker out of the
Right.
way, and you're going to need to replace it in between the twist stitches, because the twist is actually crossing the territory between the repeats.
Right, I
So
figured that out, but I just wanted to make sure I hadn't gone wrong.
no, that's right. That's
I
right.
don't want to rip it out anymore.
Yeah, I get it. You know, and it might be easier to use the markers that are more like a progress marker or a pin marker, but it's up to you. As long as you have some system, it's fine to use the markers. They just might screw you up if you're not aware.
I just
Or,
need to
you
keep
know, or if you didn't
track
read
of
all
the
the
32
notes.
tweet.
Yeah, yeah. The repeat changes from 32 stitches to 16 stitches, you know, as we go. So you know, just be aware that
I can adjust.
that's why it was recommended not to use markers.
Yeah, the only thing is that I ripped it out so many times, I decided that I needed something to, I put the markers for the repeats and also a marker for every 50 stitches. Because I counted so many times, I thought my head was gonna burst. Thank you. Oh, by the way, I got my yarn on Friday.
Oh, good.
The Pontiac, Michigan to Detroit.
Yeah.
Instead of
the
coming to
mess.
Florida.
Yeah.
It went up and up and down, up and down.
I know. I kept picturing our packages sitting in Pontiac, Michigan, next to each other, having a conversation or something.
I actually am going to use it for leaving, because I was in Miami at the doctor's, and I actually, I don't know if you can see that, I found some nice ochre colored Malbrigo.
Oh,
So
nice.
I wasn't sure when it was coming, so I just grabbed it and I said, I'll just use it for the sweater. I think it'll be beautiful.
I forget, did you get Modern Deco Sport?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I've got two.
And we have a leaving pullover knit with that. That's short sleeve. It's really cute. Oh, no, we don't. Never mind.
I saw that on your craftsy class.
Yeah.
You were wearing it. I was like, I want that sweater. So I had to Google you. Now I'm doing the mystery knit along.
Yeah, that one is knit with a different yarn, but the Modern Deco would be beautiful in it. Yeah.
Okay, how do you count while you're sitting there talking to me?
I'm not counting. I'm just doing stockinette stitch right now.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm jealous.
No, I don't count. I don't tend to count anyway. I just feel when the pattern's coming.
Follow the pattern, yeah. All right.
It's in my hand. Yeah.
I want to be like you someday. All right. Thank you.
No, you don't. I'm a pain in the neck. Nobody can live with me. Okay, who's next?
Cindy.
I have sorry.
Cindy has her hand raised.
Yeah, I am too fascinated that Anne is knitting without looking at her knitting, but some people can do that. My question was, are you going to have some instructions at the end about the finishing, the wet finishing that you were mentioned last week about hot water, which sort of sent me into trepidation, but I'd like a little bit more instruction on how you do that and the finishing and blocking.
All my patterns include finishing information. So the actual finishing will be there. It's fairly brief, but we did do a little tutorial. We've done several tutorials on blocking and finishing. All of our video tutorials are on our YouTube channel. So if you go onto YouTube and search for KnitSpot, and Kaya made one recently about the Targhee yarn specifically. When we got the Targhee yarn, and I talked about the fact that it comes to you unwashed and what was my method of washing it. So we made that very recently. And then there are some older videos about blocking and pinning, and you know, that have been made over the years as well. And even some, not quite tutorials, but more like little movies where I block a whole shawl in fast motion and stuff like that. So we've got a few of those too.
Well, thank you. I'll watch for that.
Okay. Anybody else have a question?
I have a question.
Okay.
It's Cynthia. I have a question. What's the majority of the knitters that are in this group? Do they cake their yarn or do they ball it? You know, is there a
Cake.
reason?
It's a good idea. Well, yeah. Winding, it doesn't matter whether you make a cake or a ball, but making a center pull ball or cake is ideal, because when you wind yarn, you're stretching it a little bit as you go. Even if you do it by hand, you're actually pulling on it a little bit. So when you pull from the center, it gives the yarn a little bit of time and a little bit of space to relax back into the shape it was meant to be. So it gives it a little time to contract. And that's why when you use a center pull ball, the yarn does like spring toward the center, because it's been stretched out and it wants to go back to shape. So it's a good idea to use a center pull cake for that reason.
I mean, I did that with mine. I had the stone soup, and I felt it was twisting. And I usually pull from the center and do the cake. And I didn't know if it's just the type of yarn that it does twist a little bit.
No, it shouldn't. One way to counteract that, when you see that happening, so when I wind my cake, I pull out like a yard of yarn and I let it hang. And if it twists up real fast, that means it's going to keep doing that. And the way to fix it is to put the end back through the ball in the other direction, and it won't do that then.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's probably, I never knew to do that.
Yeah. And that's
I
why
mean, I'm in the.
Yeah, I do that right away when I pull it off the cake winders. When there's still room in the middle, I put my finger up in there and I pull out a yard of yarn, and it should hang in a relaxed U shape. And if it twists up real fast, it's probably going to continue doing that. So as long as I still have space in the middle, I shoot the end back through, and usually I never have a problem with it if I do that.
Wow, great tip. Thank you.
I know.
I do love the stone shoe. I can't believe how much I love this yarn. I just love it.
Everybody says that when they knit with it. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but we don't hear from people who don't like it. So I don't know.
I mean, it's stunning. I love it. My next project will be, I'm planning on doing a sweater after I finish this with that.
It makes the most amazingly lovable sweaters.
Yeah.
And the Targhee too, like the Targhee is much, much newer. We just got it in this year, and I'm already in love with that one too. So both of those are just really nice.
What's the difference between the two?
Just the fiber content. The Targhee is Targhee wool, and the stone soup doesn't have Targhee wool in it. But the Targhee is a little more like a real, like 100% merino yarn. It has more of the qualities of a pure merino yarn. It's super cushy and soft. I like it a lot. I'm so impressed. I didn't expect to like it this much. I just love it. We had been using Targhee as a base for our Festivus yarn for a couple of years, and I knew I liked it, but the undyed Targhee is even better. I just love it. And in fact, we just published a new sock pattern today. So I have the home office socks in the Targhee, knit up in the Targhee yarn.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, really nice. Like really old fashioned hiking socks. I love it.
Betsy, you have a question?
Yeah, I hope I didn't miss it because something on my computer was going wacko. But you said about using a center pull cake. I have a Swift and a winder. How do you make a center pull, or do you just find it and pull it out when you're done?
You mean, oh, how do you get to the center piece?
Is there a way to make it so it's easier to, or do you just go in there and you just pull out what's in the middle and just get a clump?
No, there should be on top of your cake winder, there should be a clip for the end of the yarn, and you clip it's like a notch in the plastic, and you just put the yarn in it and it holds it there. Then when you take it off, you make sure to hold it.
Oh, you make sure to pull it. Okay. And I didn't even think of that. Yeah. So you just hold on to it, and so you have something sticking out.
Yeah.
That's really simple. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna run and get some water. I'll be right back. You guys can chit chat while I'm gone.
Yeah, we'll take a question from Lucy when Anne comes back. Constance, did you still have a question, or is that? Yeah.
Really quick, the person that was talking about the knit companion, was that on her computer she was doing that?
Yeah, on her
magic marker?
iPad.
Oh, because I don't see where those magic markers are on my iPad. It's in settings?
Are you in Knit Companion? You have Knit Companion open?
Yeah, I upgraded it because somebody recommended that I get the full version.
Okay, go to the internet and pull up the Knit Companion website. And on the Knit Companion website are the tutorials to show you how to use markers.
I keep losing you. Okay.
You're frozen, or I'm frozen. Okay, can you hear me now?
Go to the tutorial.
Go to the Knit Companion website on the internet, knitcompanion.com, and then look for the tutorials on magic markers. Yeah, the instructions aren't in the Knit Companion app itself. You have to go to the Knit Companion website.
All right, Lucy?
My cakes aren't winding the right way. Do you use an umbrella Swift or a flat one, or doesn't it matter?
I have an umbrella Swift. I can never get the flat ones to stay put personally, but that's just my opinion or my own handicap. But I use an umbrella.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing wrong with my cakes to make them. They seem to get jumbled when I get partway through and I pull it out of the center.
Oh, you mean you can make a cake just fine, but when you pull the yarn out, it gets tangled?
Tangled, yes.
When you take the cake off the winder and you turn it upside down, is it all crisscrossed on the bottom? Is there a problem there? Or?
Yeah, I think it doesn't seem to want to go up and down smoothly.
Oh, I'm not mechanical. I wouldn't be able to help you with the mechanics of it, but perhaps it has a flaw and it needs to be replaced or something.
Okay.
If I may, there's a nifty little thing. If you can see my video, I have a little socky thing over my hand. You can put that around a cake that you're going to center pull, and it will keep it better tensioned so that it doesn't make a mess. These came out
I have those too.
2 years ago.
Yeah, what she's saying is that the winder itself is crisscrossing strands so that and that's happened to me before with some fibers where on the bottom of the cake you get all this crisscross strands and it can cause a knot later. I know exactly what you're talking about, and it is a function of what you're saying, where the yarn isn't flowing onto the winder the way that it should.
Right.
And in my experience, that'll happen like more frequently with silky yarns, like silk blends and silk yarns and synthetics. But it can happen. I also have a non-functional winder that does the same thing, and I literally can't use it, and the manufacturer hasn't been helpful in fixing it for me, but it could be that it needs to be replaced or something.
Okay, thank you.
You might
Yeah.
also want to try a bit more distance between your winder and your umbrella swift.
Yeah, yeah.
So that your tension is.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Try to move it away a little bit.
Do you put your
Okay.
hand on the thread when you're winding it? Like, do you give it some tension with your hand?
Sometimes, but it might be the distance, because now I've been doing it on the floor instead of using a table.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to watch the dog coming too close to it when I'm winding it.
Yeah. I
Yes,
always
I'll
give
try that.
the feeder, the feeding from the Swift some tension with my hand, like
Okay.
a pretty good amount, you know.
Well, that might work. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right about that.
Well, only from experience do I know it does that. And then I know I need to push things apart. Oh, they're doing Hamlet in the park, and I see the actors coming. Oh, I'm gonna have to go see that some night.
You forget that there's things like theater out there to do.
Yeah, theater in the park. It's and you have to move your chair and follow the actors to their next scene, if you will. It's the first time I've seen them parked outside my door, so this is making it tempting.
I just want to tell everybody, if you're in the Canton, Ohio area, you have to see if Bare Naked Wool Boutique is open, because I went there last Friday and did some shopping and added about 20 items to my queue, because seeing all the samples, I mean, you know, we can all see them hanging behind Anne on the wall and on the chair. But once you get up close and personal with these things, you want to knit every single one. So
we had a really nice visit. That was so nice of you to come.
Yeah, Elizabeth, that was the downside of, you know, in-person knitting night, because it added a lot to my queue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't see a downside whatsoever. I don't understand what you're talking about at all.
I still have a
I think it's
full-time job,
convenient.
Catherine.
Yeah, but it's like your personal neighborhood stash. You get to hit it and not wait like the rest of us.
Yeah, that's the upside.
Like, you aren't going to knit with these yarns, Amanda? Come on. Who are you talking to?
I bought some stone soup to make, I think it was dandelion honey, if I remember correctly.
She came in with it wasn't even on her list when she came.
Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was. I mean, you know,
you weren't going to knit the sweater, and you weren't going to use that yarn.
No. But I had already knit the first clue in stone soup. This is Lou. Say hi, Lou. I had already knit the first clue in stone soup fingering, and I can't get over how soft this stone soup is. I just love it. So I thought, oh gosh, this and then the sample was in it, and I tried the sample on, and that's the big thing. Anne and Kaya, oh, try this on, try this on. Oh, try this
Enablers.
on. Enablers. Oh my gosh. And the skirts. I've got to make one of those skirts. The skirts are something else. The skirts are something else.
So basically, you didn't believe me the last 4 KALs when I would talk about how amazing stone soup is.
I
I'm
know.
really offended.
I know. I believed you. I just, you know, it's not till you actually have it in your hands. And I don't know how through all these years I've not had stone soup, but I've never had stone soup.
You have clearly not been paying attention.
I haven't been paying. Well, you know, school, you know.
I know. All of us who knit a lot of sweaters have like several in Stone Soup, if not all of them.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's like, I'm gonna knit this in blah blah, but also in Stone Soup.
Well, that's like the home office. I'd like to knit the home office because I like the way that it works. And I thought, oh, that would be nice out of Stone Soup, because once I knit with it and felt it, I'm like, oh, I need to knit an Ivar out of Stone Soup. Oh, I need to do, this out of Stone Soup. So.
Well,
Luckily-
and wait till you start like wearing it, because it's like your favorite pair of blue jeans or flannel shirt. It just gets better and better and better the more you wear it. I mean, it
Yeah, I
just
can
gets
understand that. I think
no
that's-
pilling. It's amazing.
I think
You
that's
should,
how it's
you really should have seen, I don't know if we took a picture or not, but you really should have seen how cute this sweater looked that Sherry knit. Sherry, it's the one that you knit, the dandelion honey in Stone Soup. It looked so stinking cute on her. It was perfect fit. She's gonna raise up the neck a little bit. Yeah.
I think you need one, Elizabeth.
I've got the yarn and the pattern now, so
Yeah.
You're ready.
I think that may be my Rhinebeck sweater, KAL. So
Nice.
yeah.
I wore my her home office this past weekend to Worldwide Knit in Public, and people were touching it and feeling it, and it's out of the Stone Soup DK, and it's beautiful. I got a ton of compliments. You won't be sorry if you knit it out of that.
Well, she felt it here. We have a sample here too. and-
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, she was fondling it a little bit.
I was. It was nice. And I saw the robin's nest, the original robin's nest. Oh my God, so beautiful.
And the Mukarnas t-shirt, that was another
Right.
in the fresh lace.
Bye, Betsy. But
And the firefly, you saw that too.
yes, I
The-
did.
The
Yes,
new
I
one.
did.
I got the sleeves put into it.
Oh my.
And I found a tech editor, so our tech editor is taking the summer off and maybe not coming back after that. So I was in a panic. But we need 10 sizes of everything.
Yeah. I was just trying to cast on for Squall again. And I do a cable cast on, and Louis came up and jumped in my lap. And I tried to pull the yarn underneath of him, and it must have tickled his belly because he took off. And I probably had 100 stitches. No, I'm going to say 50, a little bit more than 50 stitches. And he ran and he broke my yarn. So now I'm starting all over again. Damn cat.
And I have another question.
Okay.
Back to the cake with the twisting. I'm on the second clue of my shawl, and it twists. Is it going to affect the way it lays out, or no? Will it all sort itself out after I block it?
It
Or have I
should. I
ruined
mean,
it?
what are you using?
Stone Soup.
Okay, and it's twisting up still?
Well, it's like I probably didn't done the cake, like you said, take it from the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, it's knitting up
you can
okay,
break-
but I'm
you
just
can-
wondering.
You can break your yarn and pass it through to the other side and then spit splice it if you want to straighten it
Oh,
out.
okay, that's probably a better idea. Okay, I'll do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and it spit splices really well, really easily, so it shouldn't be a problem.
I can't believe that tip you gave. It's like night and
I know,
day. God,
worth the price of admission.
absolutely, it's worth the price of coming
It's
into the town.
it's my one stupid yarn trick that I have. A good icebreaker. Lucy, did you have another question?
I'm sorry, I didn't put my hand down. I went
Okay,
back
just
to sleep.
checking.
I apologize.
No, just checking. It's fine. Because if you do.
No, but somebody's dog was barking momentarily, which got my dog barking momentarily.
That was probably my dog, Sophie. Sorry about that. And for the record, Cardigan did not bark at me.
That's right. She didn't bark at all. She was very sweet. She's laying up in the doorway looking out. She might have to go out. I'll be right back. She might have to go out.
Cardigan, do you need to go out?
I was just gonna add that it was so nice meeting you, Elizabeth.
Oh, it was nice to meet you.
Last
Saga.
weekend. Yeah,
That was a
it
lot.
was so fun. You look so good in everything. I'm not just saying that, I swear. We did have a little photo shoot moment in the boutique. It's pretty
Elizabeth's
fun.
gonna come back once a month from now on.
I'll be back once. I'm still waiting on Vogue to call. I don't know why they called me. You know, I'm available.
Just give him a few more days.
Yeah.
Come with me, come on. What is it?
Kaya, I have to say thank you for getting me sorted out today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. It's been I just feel like every day something with Ravelry is definitely going on, tech
I think so
related
too. Yeah.
in the back end. We've had so many issues with the MKAL that we are not able to fix, and so I've contacted their customer service and we hear no response, which is lovely.
I did the same thing. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
pursue it with them.
Yeah, I think we're gonna follow up tomorrow, just because I really don't know what else there is to do. Like, patterns are just going missing. The database says different numbers. Some patterns you can't even purchase for no good reason at all. So.
Well, I just want to thank you for hanging in with me.
Oh yeah, of course, anytime.
And I really appreciate it. So
Yeah, anytime you guys have any like issues you run into, or you can't figure out how to get a clue or access a YouTube video, just send an email to jeeves@knitspot.com. And when I'm working, if I don't get to it quickly, I'm sorry. But usually if I see it, I respond right away. So.
I just wanted to say thank you, Kaya, because you really helped me with that first clue quite a bit. Like, I couldn't find it, and I was searching all over the place. So, and you were on it right away. There it is. I'm going, okay, great. Yeah, you were amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to help. I know it can be frustrating. Like, I know, at least for me, when I'm trying to figure out something that has to do with the computer and it doesn't work, I'm like, what's going on? Like, where are the answers? So,
I am not technical literate.
Yeah.
I'm an old person here, you know, I'm not techie literate.
I like to think I am until something happens and I'm like, all right, here, let me go over to Google. Let me just find the answer here. Someone asked, is there any platform that competes with Ravelry?
Oh.
I would say maybe no. I mean, based on like forums, like I don't think there's any other type of platform that has the accessibility of having forums.
I know on Instagram, I keep seeing the off Ravelry designer group. I don't know anything about it. I've never checked it out. For people who are disgruntled and dissatisfied with selling on Ravelry and have now gone to their own, I don't know if it's a website or what, but I'm sure they would be willing to fill you in on all the details if you message them. So we haven't, up till now, we haven't had problems with Ravelry personally. So, and with everything else we have to do, I don't go looking for reasons to make any big changes. So we're sticking with them for right now, although I did notice in the process of figuring out this whole Ravelry, the mystery knit along brouhaha. We can't get this pattern to show up for sale on Ravelry for some reason, number one. And then number two, when you go to our pattern store, it says that there are like 350 patterns listed in our pattern store. Well, I have 620 designs according to my designer page. So I don't know why they're not all in the pattern store, but that's our next big thing to take a look at some point. Maybe it's just that Ravelry can't count. I don't know. I don't know.
It is hard.
I know. Counting is just hard.
Get up in those 400s and just drop off.
Oh, are you kidding? We can't, half of us can't count to 5 successfully.
Yeah, having a problem.
Maybe Ravelry needs to use magic markers.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just sorry, Kaya, that it had to take time out of your day to like clean up Ravelry's failure to execute. You know what I mean? And I just really appreciate the time it took because I knew it wasn't.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I was kind of like in a mad dash because I didn't want anyone to get angry. We thought it would go out smoothly the first time around. I hope that this week you probably received a influx of emails from us like, here's the clue again. But you did get the clue, so
I got it. When I clicked the link, it said it was owned by somebody else. That's what's so bizarre.
That is really, that has to be something in the back end that I think they're maybe meddling with things still with the update. And I'm sure that's having an impact on designer pages and even just users in general.
Yeah.
Well, there's a global chip shortage. They may be trying to have database problems with, you know, so many patterns get published every day and they could just be not able to handle the volume and the updates.
That's true.
They can't get the hardware they need. I'm sure it's a variety of problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wish we knew, like, if there's a limit to your Ravelry store, you would think there'd be a pop-up that would say, oops, you know, you've got too many patterns in your store, you got to bump something out, you know. Although bumping 300 patterns out would be hard.
Well,
you know, I have faith.
Their part because they're getting a piece of the action.
Well, yeah. It kind of, if it's the case that what it looks like really is happening, it explains a lot why our revenues from Ravelry have fallen, you know, over the years, because you hit a point and that's it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I had a weird problem where yesterday I got my barn box pattern and then I went to my library. It never showed it in my library. I fooled around with the sorting, recent additions, it's not there. But then if I search my library, it pops up. The only way I can see in my library if it's there without specifically searching for the pattern was in alphabetical list form only. If I did it in like the library shelf form, not there. So not even all my patterns that I own are being displayed in my own personal library. So it's not even, you know, just you. And then when I Googled the pattern, they've got it for sale. So it wasn't like it was missing. So it's got to be a multi tiered sort of dynamic problem they're having. It has to be. So again, Kaya, thank you for the time to clean up their mess.
Yeah, one could say it's just an added mystery to the mystery knit along.
Yeah, that's tactful. I'm not good at that.
No, our mystery knit along pattern is in a black hole somewhere where everybody can see it, but nobody can buy it.
That's the real mystery, not the pattern itself, just whatever's going on in the ether. Yeah.
Wanda, do you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask Catherine what size shawl she's making there.
I am doing the large one.
Well, I am too, but yours looks like a whole lot larger than mine. Are you getting gauge?
Yes, on 8s.
Okay, well.
And I'm using the Target and I'm showing the backside, so I'm not spoiling anything.
It just looks a lot bigger than mine. I wondered if you had added another 32 stitch repeat.
How
No,
long is
I didn't.
How long is your needle, Catherine?
My needle is probably 36 inches.
The 30, yeah. So does that help you in terms of relationship? Hold yours up, Wanda.
Mine? Oh, okay. Let me get it.
It could be, if you're using a different yarn, that could be the.
Well, I'm using the Target finish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're using the same yarn and I'm on 8s.
Well, maybe if I had a 36, it might stretch out that far.
Right, because yours is bunched up.
Yeah, I just have a long cable where it can relax.
I'm in the
Okay.
front row, so you can't see, but mine, I'm doing Target He on 8s and it runs the full length of a 37. So.
Oh, well, I'm doing it on the 24, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just this is the length cable I had, so I went with it.
I thought about adding more length, but anyway, I wondered if you did. So, all right.
I did
I'll
not, but if
continue.
you want to see, it's a nice size.
Oh, it looks good. Yes.
Yeah. I always do the large.
I do too. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna go on a
Thank
bike
you,
ride.
Thanks
Okay.
for getting us.
Bye, everyone.
See you tomorrow.
All right, bye.
Bye.
So have you guys talked about bees at all?
Yes.
Oh, you have?
Bees?
Yeah.
You mean honeybees?
Yeah.
Were you here at, when did you get on the, oh, okay. You'll have to go back and watch it. Helena and Alex were here for the first hour, talking to us about Spikenard Farm and showing us photographs and answering questions. And it was really nice. And you won't really miss out on much watching the recorded copy, because they did most of the talking. So
Okay, I'll do that. But I have to report, I'm so excited because Memorial Day weekend, a girl moved here from Maryland and she's immediately opened a business doing what I think Spikenard does, which is set up beehives like at people's homes, like what Audrey's been talking about. And she literally just launched the business like this week. So I'm going to look into it. So that's how I was asking. I'd love to have a hive.
yeah, they're not really in the business of doing that. They run a sanctuary on a 40-acre farm where they are, but
Okay,
the
well,
build
I'll go back and watch the Zoom.
right, but the Build a Hive program that we're funding is for other to give a certain kind of hive to other kinds of beekeepers to support their beekeeping sanctuary. So they're actually working with other sanctuaries, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then one of those, like I know one of those is an ecology center in Floyd, and another, there's a grade school, I believe, that wanted to incorporate a hive into their little microclimate. But they also work with other sanctuaries around in the states around them. But it was really interesting. Although getting my hands into some cow dung to make a sun hive might not be exactly what I had in mind, but I would do it, you know. And if they provided gloves, I would be really excited about that.
I found it very interesting when he was talking about the nutritional aspect of bee feeding, like on the sage and on the different herbs. And I assume that dung would be part of the nutrition. It probably has something in it they could use.
Yeah, well, mainly they were talking about it for insulation, but yeah, it might contribute to the nutrition of the hive as well.
I know that I missed the first hour, but we raise bees. We have bees in our yard. We've raised them now for a couple of years, and we were able earlier this season to get our first batch of honey, and we actually were able in our yard to process 26 cups of honey, and we just got another cup out about a week ago.
Wow.
So it's been very fruitful.
My daughter is a molecular biologist, geneticist, and when she was graduating from college, Monsanto wanted to interview her, and she refused because of their genetic alteration. When he was talking about it, I totally remembered my daughter talking about that. It's sad that we have a world like that.
Yeah.
Catherine, you had said that you thought that the shawl, considering we don't know what it's going to look like, you thought the shawl was a good width. Well, we really don't know the width because one side is straight and one side is angular.
Well, you're right, but for so far, I'm happy with it. So
yeah. Well, this is the last.
But if you've made this type of shawl before, you might be familiar with what width works overall. You know, it's not an uncommon shape for a shawl anymore. So, if you've knit one of these wedge shawls, and I think Catherine has probably knit a couple with us, she probably gets the idea. The width that you're starting with is actually one of the slanted sides of the shawl.
And on your socks that you just put out this today, which are awesomely gorgeous, how much of a targy did they take?
How much what?
Of a targy skein did they take?
The yardages are listed in the pattern listing, so I don't have them right up.
I didn't pull up the pattern. I just
but the total yardage ranges from 220 to 450 maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not even that much. I want to say if you buy two skeins, you know, two colors, you can just make two pair that are the opposite of each other.
Okay, that's what I was wondering if you could do.
Oh, totally. Yeah, you could do that. My this women's size pair, which is we knit them for like a size 10 foot, took only like 300 yards or something. It's pretty thrifty.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, and they full out so nicely when you wash them. They're just really nice. Everybody that's had them on really likes them.
Thank you.
And boy, they knitted up really quick. I didn't have any trouble knitting those up. Socks aren't my favorite thing, but bless you. Bless you. Come on, you want to come up here?
Does Riley have a new do? Did you get her cut?
I did. Come here. He has a new collar too. Okay,
Huh?
ready?
Oh, isn't she pretty?
She got a summer cut, a little short haircut with a little punk ear details. Huh? Yeah. No.
Well, she's cute.
She knows it too, right? She's like, I'm cute. I don't have to be good. Hi, Cardigan. Hi. We're working on another rescue dog up the street that's been hanging around the college campus. She looks like she's a little dog like cardigan size, but all white, like a shepherd mix of some kind. And just like Cardigan, she's very skittish. She doesn't want to be caught. Right? Cindy, do you have a question?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I'm unmuted. I just wondered, is anybody else having trouble with the edge folding up?
Yeah.
On the bottom?
It'll be okay.
It'll be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, my whole thing was pretty curly before I blocked it. Oh, did you block it?
Yeah. Now it
Yeah.
is perfectly flat.
Yeah, they flatten
I
out.
was nervous, so I took it off the needles and I blocked it, and I didn't even stretch it or pin it. I just laid it flat and smoothed it out, and it is perfectly flat. So
okay, good.
Should be fine. Besides,
I tried to set her mind at rest ahead of time.
I had already blocked it,
Oh, okay.
so
She
I
looked-
appreciated the advice, but it was already drying.
That was my actual question too. It's funny, we both put our hand up at the same time with the same question. Because mine has just a terrible fold right at that edge. So I won't panic.
Really, what I thought was, I know that I'm a very loose knitter, and I did not swatch because I have plenty of yarn. So I started with one size smaller needles like I normally do. And when I saw that fold right at the hem, I thought, oh, I wonder if I need to go down another size or if this is just something that I'll block out. So I needed to block it to make sure I didn't need to change needle size. So that's my story.
It's always worth asking if you have a question.
I think I saw a question in the chat. Somebody asked, is anyone going to Rhinebeck?
Me.
I was gonna go, but I'm not going this year. I heard they're only open on Saturday. It's a one-day
No.
festival.
No, they had tickets for Sunday too.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're selling tickets.
Tickets went on sale on Tuesday.
And did you say you're going to be there? You're going?
Yeah, we're exhibiting. Yeah,
Oh,
we
great.
exhibit there. Yeah. So we're pretty excited.
I think a lot of people are this year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of hoping that now that New York is opening fully now. I'm kind of hoping that they won't have, they were saying it's going to be all like distanced, and it doesn't seem like that's necessary. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how other people feel, but it seems like with everything opening up the way that it is, what good would it do for Rhinebeck to be socially distanced when all the restaurants in town are going to be packed and the bars are going to be packed?
Did I read that the most of the classes are going to be virtual? Yes, no? Is that?
I think
Have
that's
you heard
correct.
that? It's correct.
I don't know for sure. I think it's right. But they were talking about putting more people outside, and that's such a bad idea at that time of year. I hope they don't have to do that.
So I was thinking about going up just for the day to Rhinebeck. But I didn't know, do you have to get tickets ahead of time, or is there a limited number of, how does all that work?
Normally they have sale at the gate too, but if you buy them online, they're like $5 cheaper. And normally they have a weekend pass, which they did not have this time. This time they only had Saturday tickets and Sunday tickets. I bought tickets for both days. So
Is there normally like a rush on tickets that I would need to worry about? Or
my thinking in getting the tickets now, I don't normally get the tickets until right when I'm ready to go. Is if they do limit capacity, then I have it. If they say, because I just don't know that they know predictability wise, if the governor's going to require restrictions, but the fact that they haven't announced any and they put the tickets on sale tells me they're not expecting to. But
in a normal year, you don't need to get them ahead of time, other than to save some money or to save time
Right.
at the door. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And it
I
doesn't
had,
always,
I had originally heard
it
that
doesn't always save time at the door. One year we didn't have tickets ahead of time, and there was a huge line for people with passes, and we walked right by all those people to purchase our tickets because there was a dedicated person taking money that day, and she didn't have any business. So that was kind of funny.
I had originally heard that they were only going to sell them online. I don't know if that's.
Yes, on the website it says they're doing only ticket online sales, and that could be that locals can't drop by the fairgrounds and buy them. I don't know if that means they won't be selling them on the day.
Okay, but once it gets closer to the month of it, I could just get them later if there are no restrictions in terms of capacity.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally,
we haven't been informed about any restrictions.
Okay.
And I would think as vendors, we would be told that. you know,
Well, and
that-
they're doing like sporting events, Yankee Stadium, they're filling up. So I think people are feeling that it's not going to be necessary to have those restrictions.
right.
Unless something changes, but I'm going to remain optimistic.
Well, New York has a pretty high vaccination rate too. I know people come from other places, but within New York State, in terms of like all the people working at the fairgrounds and the people working in town and stuff like that, you're in a fairly safe environment.
I don't think there was any restrictions at the Westminster Dog Show this past weekend. It didn't appear to have any restrictions there for that venue.
Yeah, New York didn't open up till yesterday though, so.
Yeah, and
No,
they
but
had
the
that
Westminster,
outdoors.
They had it
They had-
outdoors. It was the same
Yeah.
venue, same platform with tents and everything. It did not appear that they had restrictions at that outside venue. So maybe they won't have them at Rhinebeck.
That's what we're waiting to hear.
We just opened up too. We just opened up this week.
That we got letters back in April, I think, that they were having the show, or March, that they were having the show, but there was going to be restrictions. But so much has changed since then.
Yep.
No one ever dreamed how many people would be eligible for vaccines before summer even started. So, at that time, we were all expecting not to get a vaccine till late summer. So a lot has changed.
Well, I'm done my clue 2. And my battery is almost dead.
So you're gonna take off then?
I think I'm gonna sign off. And I'll post maybe tomorrow a spoiler picture.
Oh, by the way, Lillian watched last week's knit along, and she's never seen any of you guys, just the people who've been here. I think maybe Sherry met her, and Catherine has met her.
Yeah.
And Kim has been here and met her, but very few people have met her. And she was like, I think because she might be knitting it. I don't know. Anyway, she was like, oh my gosh, like this is so interesting and so much fun. And she was listening to it while she worked. And she's like, all of these people look completely different than I pictured them. She's like, I thought Jose was going to have dark, flowy hair and red lipstick. Oh my God, it was so funny. And so funny, she pictured you as, a completely different person. Because
Hi, Lillian.
Yeah, sorry, Lillian. I had to tattle.
Well, it's like the Outlander books, right? You've got your image of what Jamie looks like.
Yeah. I do that all the time. I imagine what people are thinking or what they look like, or or from what they say, you imagine a scenario that isn't what they were thinking.
Yeah.
Anyway, all in good fun, Lillian. We're not laughing at you. I just have to share. Anyway.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Good night, Jose.
Bye.
I just have to say how much I love the border, because the border is coming out so nice. It's really, really pretty.
The slanted border.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty excited that it all worked out that way.
I was just wondering, you must have a great talent for seeing things to be able to plan, oh, if we do this, this will happen. I'm going, so neat.
Sometimes it works out.
And then you just call it fire in the kitchen.
Sometimes the results make me look smart. Sometimes not. Although the results this time make us look like we don't know anything about Ravelry. So Cardigan pretended that she had to go out so that I would get up and Riley would get up, and then Cardigan ran in and stole the bed.
Ah, smart Cardigan.
I
Good
love
job.
her so much.
Peppa does that all the time. Those kind of
Yeah,
tricks,
Riley does
all
it.
the time.
Riley completely does it too, but this time Cardigan did it, which is so cute. She's so smart. She just decided, I mean, she's been sleeping on the sofa every week for ages now, and suddenly decided, hey, I want my bed back.
I have to say that I've got a great excuse if I fall behind.
Oh,
Aww.
what a cutie.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Aww.
I just
So
adopted him last
cute.
weekend.
Aww. Is it a rescue or?
Look,
Oh,
if
she's
he and his brother were left by the side of the road in Kentucky at 6 weeks
Aw.
old. So
What kind
he'll
is
be
he?
nice.
Is he a lab or what? Oh, look at him.
Oh, anybody's guess.
Uh-huh.
Anybody's guess. The way he's been behaving since he's here, I think he's got some Jack Russell in him.
Oh, uh-huh. That look.
But
He
yeah,
looks like,
they said a shepherd mix. You know, shepherd lab.
Yeah.
He's got Badger markings. In fact, Badger is his name.
oh,
And he's got something fluffy, so it could be a golden, could be Pyrenees. I
Or
just
the
can't wait to see
shepherd.
what he grows up to. But yeah, he's already grabbed my sock that I was working on and several skeins of yarn while I was trying to get everything into totes.
oh.
So knitting's gonna be on hold for a while.
Oh, he's so cute. How old is he?
He was 8 weeks last week, so he's going on 9 weeks.
Oh,
Just a baby.
it's nice to get them when they're a puppy, though. Then they don't have any of that baggage, really.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I've got 2 older dogs, and one is deaf and one is blind. So
Oh. So he can lead them around.
yeah. And the deaf one is my female. She's a female cattle dog, and she's about 16, and she's handled 2 other puppies that I've brought in over the years, and she's just showing them the ropes.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm an old lady, but I'm still alpha.
I was taking care of a boxer and I had no problem with the dog. And I said, well, listen, I've got to go out. I've got to go to a funeral and I'm planning the time. I said, I will be back in 2.5 hours. I was 3. Now, previously when I go out and tell him the time, he didn't touch my knitting. This time it was all through the house and the kitchen and the living room.
Oh no.
Chewing on the needles. Previously, he hadn't touched it at all for a whole week, except I was late. So he let me know he wasn't happy.
Wasn't happy about that.
The cat ignored it, but the dog went for it.
Oh.
Now, I just thought of a question. I'm working on the MKAL, and I'm doing it from the small size. I've got this one skein of Modern Deco Sport.
Uh-huh.
Should I be doing the larger size? I don't mind unripping what I've done.
No, if you've only got one skein, you're gonna have to be pretty careful about your yarn usage. Did you get an email from us about it, or?
And I did.
Oh, okay.
I did go down a size.
Okay, yeah.
Through everything that I had and going, oh, I do have a needle smaller, so I did go down.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
what I'm doing. Okay. So if I'm good, then I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm working on wild horses on the sleeves. And I just counted my stitches. I'm increasing 18 times. And I just noticed that I dropped a stitch way back, what, 2 inches or so? Do you, when that happens, should I try to pick that up with the crochet hook and stretch all those stitches, or should that just increase?
When
It's
you
right on
dropped, did it run down 8 rows, or did you
No,
drop?
I think I didn't count carefully. I probably dropped it and didn't notice it. But when I saw the count was off, I went back and looked, and there's the drop stitch right there.
I usually make an attempt to do that, but often find that it's much too tight. And I end up ripping out the 8 rows because, especially in a sleeve, because it's not that,
okay.
So
I
it's
need
not
to,
that.
I just need to rip it out then. Okay, I'll do that.
That's probably what I would do.
Because it does look wonky if you try to pick that up with a crochet hook.
Yeah, if it was a couple rows down, it wouldn't bother me, but
it's a good 2 inches. So that's not too much to rip out. I'll do that.
Elizabeth, are you knitting?
I'm casting on. I've almost got my 305 stitches cast on.
Awesome.
Yes. I don't know why I've got to start double checking myself because I did this one other time with C to C, which I knit 4 times and I have 2 shawls of. So, because I kept having to rip it back. But I do have the clue finished, the second clue. Where is it? I don't think my cord is long enough to stretch it out.
So what are you casting on then?
My barn box.
Oh.
This barn box. So here, we're showing the back, right? So we don't spoil it. That's my,
Wow.
there's the tip. And my bottom is folding up ever so slightly. But I'm loving the fabric. Oh.
I love when the days get this long and it's as bright now as it was when we started.
I know. I love it when it's still light at 9 o'clock. I wish those days lasted longer.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
I added a 32 stitch repeat, and I'm having a hard time in my mind visualizing how that's going to affect the pattern when we get to the end.
Well, it's going to be bigger.
Right.
So
I mean, well, I have
you need to add 1 repeat to every chart that you do. And then some of the charts that have a 16 stitch repeat, you'll be adding 2 repeats to that chart. So, and then at the end, you'll have more, I think 2 more repeats of section E.
Okay. I figured it would become more obvious as we went along, but I've just been trying to think it through in my head.
Yeah. I mean, you could add it on to the end, to section E. Or I think section C, you could add 2 repeats onto there if you prefer. So
that would reduce the width as well as, and then
it will reduce, you're trying to reduce away 32 stitches.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
Every chart, and so, your charts are 32 rows long, so you would need, and in 32 rows, you're decreasing 16 stitches, so you would need to add 2 chart repeats of something.
Do you have a suggestion where to add them?
No. I mean, well, you're asking me to do math like on the fly, like it's a geometric puzzle, like it doesn't just, yeah. I can safely say that you could just add section E, like you'll just be doing that 2 more times.
Okay.
I'd like to say that you could do section C a couple more times, but I don't want to, but if you're able to, if you have the math ability to do that, you're welcome to do that too. I don't have the answer for that on the fly though.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I was thinking I'm not very good at math, but everything we do is involved with math. Like knitting is involved with your knit, your date, your cooking, going from imperial to metric, and then you got your Fahrenheit to everything else. Like we're doing nothing but math all day long.
Yeah, and it's like, and the geometry of it is interesting because sometimes this like very simple solution seems like it's going to be the right thing, and I never trust that, like it can't be that simple. Nothing's ever that, but and the patterns have to line up and the decreases have to work out, like there's a lot of complicating factors all coming in together. So it's very easy to get your mind mixed up over it. I do my best not to. I always think, oh, channel Julie. Because I'm always like, if Julie was here, she'd be able to see this. But maybe I'm wrong.
You can always contact me and ask questions.
I know. It's not that I don't get it. It's that it's easy to forget like a factor. Or it sounds, even when you sit down and do all the math on paper, oh, that'll work. And then you realize, oh crap, that's not going to work because in the previous section, I want to do this. And that's going to screw it up.
It's funny that you said channel me, though. One of my students told me one time he was taking, I guess it was the SATs or maybe it was the AP calculus test. And he said he had one of those moments where his mind went blank during the test and he panicked for a minute. Then he thought, wait a minute, what should I do? And he said he heard my voice in his head telling him to just think about it.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a little creepy, but
Yeah.
Thank
But
you.
did it work?
Yes, it did.
But
He did well.
you want your students to be doing that.
I know, but I do want them to stop and just think. I don't know that they need to hear my actual voice in their head.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
Oh man, then my teachers are all in trouble because I channel people mentally all the time,
I hear
like
other people's voices in my head a lot too.
Yeah, I call up people's voices to say my words sometimes, just so I can hear them in their voice. Never mind. It works for me.
I've been grading the AP calculus test for the last 5 days. I'm a reader this year. I've
Oh
graded.
boy, you just
I've
can't
graded,
stop
I've
having
graded
fun.
like 1,600 of the same question over and over and over again.
Is it like, do you do that for the state or something?
It's for College Board for because people all over the world take the AP calculus test. So they hire people to work for them for like the majority of people just work for a week. And you
I've
just
heard of
read,
it. Yeah.
you read questions all day. You read the answers. It's not as bad as it sounds. At times it gets a little like tedious, but it's pretty interesting. It's more interesting than it seems like it would be.
Has it ever has your mind ever been blown by something you?
Not in a good way, no. No, I was saying to one of the other teachers who's doing it, I feel like I lost a little piece of my soul with all the algebra mistakes I've seen over and over again. Like I saw the same mistake so many times, I started questioning if I was wrong. And I was like, no, no, I'm not. So I have one more day of that. And then 4 more days of regular school. And then the summer. So a lot of knitting in the queue for the summer.
Go lay down. Sorry, talking to my dog.
And actually, I'm gonna go make dinner. So I will
Hey,
see
Julie.
you guys next week.
Bye, Julie.
And I'm really, really enjoying this design.
I'm glad.
I'm having a lot of fun with it.
I know it's kind of random in the beginning, but I like that about it.
I think it looks really modern in that way. Unexpected.
We all want to know what's next.
Yeah, it draws the eye in for sure. You're trying to sort of figure out where it's going visually, and I like that. For some reason, it keeps making me think of the curtain at the Metropolitan Opera. It's more like 90-degree angles, but it's the same kind of like randomness.
Oh, uh-huh.
I'm just thinking when I've gone to see the operas in the movie theater and they have the close-up of the stage curtain.
Uh-huh.
Fun. And it just, I keep thinking about it.
It's like one of those mid-century prints or something.
Yeah, the randomness of it, which in a weird way makes it super modern and unexpected. I love that.
No, I was really liking it, and I actually did the cast on using your grandmother's cast on. I was
Oh, did you?
Great knit spot on this. So I really liked it. It went really fast, so.
It makes a nice edge.
It makes a very, very, like you say, it's a very nice edge. So I'm going to use that for future. But I'm loving this Art Deco yarn that I'm using. It is so nice. It's
yeah,
it's
butter.
I'm kind of hooked on it now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to try the, what was it, the stone soup for something next.
The Modern Deco is the same. It's got like very similar profile to the Briar Rose Sea Pearl, but it's made with combed targi instead of just like merino, and it has a little more body, I think. Don't you think, Sherry?
I think so, yeah. It has a little more. It holds its shape differently than the Sea Pearl.
Yeah.
But it's got the same elegant sheen.
Not to take anything away from the Sea Pearl, but the targi is a different, well, it's a different animal. But
literally.
It really is different.
I'm gonna do the unbroken sweater in the Modern Deco Sport. And I'm thinking I might cast it on because I'm doing well with the clues and keeping up with them. I'm thinking it might be sort of my side girlfriend while we're doing the mystery KAL.
Yeah, do your sleeves,
Yeah, and then I want to do, I think, Robin's Nest for the Rhinebeck KAL, I think. I might switch that, but we'll see.
I keep saying it, but I want to knit my mom the Robin's Nest in the targi or in the Modern Deco.
It's a gorgeous yarn. I'm really liking the stitch definition. Like it shows it so nicely, and it's such a nice wool to work with.
Yeah, and it feels really nice when you wear it. It's nice and cool, and it doesn't feel slithery or anything. But it has that drape that's really dressy too.
That's what I was thinking. It would just be awesome, perfect.
That's exactly why I want to do it in the unbroken. I think it would be like an amazing go out to dinner where the restaurant has the air conditioning too cold sweater.
Yeah.
Like just with that sheen and the texture, it would be really classic. I kind of want to save the cables in Robin's Nest for that 3-ply fin, which is like, oh, to die for.
You guys are giving me too many yarn choices.
Well, tell me about it.
We need to use them all. Eventually.
Eventually. Well, I've got to leave. I have a strata meeting to go to, so I'm off to the races. Bye, everybody. See you next.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.
Bye.
Okay, I've got the right number of stitches cast on.
Yay.
Here we go again. Has anybody else's neighborhood started with the fireworks already?
Oh God, isn't it terrible in Ohio? It's
Yeah.
just, it started before Memorial Day. It's not as bad this year, not wood. It's not as bad this year as it was last year at this time, which was insane. Last year it just started in mid-May and never ever stopped until school went back. I felt like it's just awful. And all during the protests and everything, they were having them. Is that Sophie or somebody else?
Yes, let me put it on mute. She just
No, you don't have to. I just wondered if it was
Well,
her.
She sits on the couch and barks at absolutely everything
Or nothing.
or nothing.
My dogs have totally gotten used to her. They don't even react to her anymore. They totally know it's her and it's nothing. They don't need to go to a door and check it out or.
Well, she sounds so vicious, but all she wants is somebody's attention. That's all she's saying. I'm here. I'm here. Come and see me.
Yeah.
Come and see me.
I think I've got that opossum returning in the evenings because around 9 o'clock, Mattis insists he wants to go sit on the deck outside. And I thought it was just because it was cooler at night and he's enjoying it. So he looks like, a lion surveying his territory kind of thing. And then every night, like at clockwork around 10 o'clock in this one area of the backyard, something appears. And I feel it has to be that possum that was on the deck all the time when I moved into this rental. And Mattis immediately goes over there, tinkles all over everything, and then comes back. So they seem to be having some kind of weird showdown.
As long as it's not a skunk.
We don't have those here really at all. I don't know why.
Well, let me tell you about the exciting morning I had today in my bedroom, and not the kind of excitement you're going to think of. And it's happened before. I knew what it was. The cat woke me up at 6:30. I kept hearing him jumping. I kept hearing the cat jumping. And this has happened before, and I just ignored it. So I roll over and I look down at him, and there the cat sits very proudly on the floor with a mouse in his mouth.
Nice.
Now that is better than the time he gave me the mouse in bed and laid it to my head so I would be sure and find it as soon as I woke up.
Nicer. Mm.
He was so proud of himself that he had caught this mouse. So
Yeah,
I was afraid,
Olympic gold medal in his world, yeah.
I was afraid the mouse was still alive. So, I mean, you know, you wake up and I don't have my glasses on and I'm groggy and I'm like, oh God, Louie. So I ran and got a shopping, you know, one of those plastic shopping bags, and he did drop it. The mouse was dead. And so the mouse was given the proper burial. I got to mute that damn dog.
Does the cat make a special sound when, because mine would have this really happy sound.
He does. He
meow.
talks. He's a talking cat because he's part Manx, and he has this low growl in his. Are you proud of yourself? You can shut up now, okay? Go lay down. That's the dog. She pranced in here to let me know she said hello to all the walkers in the neighborhood. But, yes, Louis does make a sound when he's, you know, when he's proud of himself. And it's this low guttural thing. And anybody that's in the house when he does it stops and says, oh my God, what's making that noise? And I'm like, that's just Lou. He's doing something.
No, my Siamese would have this really happy sounding voice.
Yes, yes.
It's like, oh God, not another mouse.
Yeah.
You're reminding me of growing up. I grew up on the Chesapeake Bay, and in the summers, my dad would call me from work around 5 o'clock at the house, and he'd say, go make sure there's gas in the boat. We're going fishing tonight or something. And in the fall, we would especially go after rockfish, AKA sea bass. And we had a black lab growing up and a golden retriever. And I remember one time we caught this really awesome big rockfish. We came home, we had rockfish for dinner. It was fantastic. Dad had a cutting table for, you know, filleting the fish and stuff on the dock. And he would throw the carcasses off in the water. Well, so for some reason, after this one big fish, the golden retriever got it in her mind that that was her job to bring it back. And I swear to God, for 2 weeks, that fish carcass kept coming in and out of the water, in and out of the water. Just disgusting. Like, you'd think it would finally be gone. And then I think my dad just finally put it in a trash bag, because you don't want to send that kind of thing to the dump, and the crabs and the, you know, it goes into feeding, you know, the other animals in the bay. So it's a good thing to throw it back. But I swear that dog just tormented us with that fish. Just like, oh God, here it comes again.
The dog smelled really yummy.
Oh, she loved it. She was so proud of herself. It was her trophy.
Way back in the day when you used to let your dogs out, you know, we lived in the old part of the city, and everybody, if your dog needed to go out, you opened the door and the dog went out and roamed the neighborhood and the back alleys and everything. And we had this little dog similar to Sophie's size, but he was black, Sophie's white. And this dog's name was Murphy, and he was the cutest little dog. He was just adorable. Well, we got him in one night and brought him in, and he reeked to high heaven. It was like he had rolled in fish carcasses or fish guts or something. He smelled so bad. And from that day on, my sister-in-law called him Sushi. That was his name, was Sushi, because he smelled horrid, just horrid. I'll never forget that little dog.
Sushi. Is anybody doing anything special for Father's Day? I'm curious if anybody's doing like any cool ideas or anything like that.
No.
No.
Nope.
We don't have any dads.
Oh.
My daughter is part owner of a cigar shop that just opened in Centerville, Ohio. And so she's putting together gift packages for dads.
Oh,
and,
good.
And that's about the only thing that, dad related that we do anymore. Because my father is dead. And I don't have a husband anymore. Cha-ching. Hallelujah.
It always cracks me up when you say that, Elizabeth.
But I need to stop. But anyway, so no, I don't. And for my sons, it's up to their family to do something. I mean, I may call them and tell them Happy Father's Day, but I'm definitely not arranging a cookout. Those days are gone.
Carrie, are you going to do anything?
I asked Bruce where if he would like to go out for lunch. We usually just go out, he gets to cook, like Chinese or maybe Long John Silver's. Do y'all have Long John Silver's?
Yeah.
So he loves that, but he said he didn't know if he wanted to go out this year. So he said he thought maybe we could get some chicken and he could grill it. I'm like, well, yeah, but you're not supposed to have to do it. So I don't really know what we're gonna do yet. Our son will come over.
What about you, Carrie? This is what, the last time the boys will both be home, right?
No, Ethan's gone already.
Already? Wow.
Yeah.
You do that camp thing, right?
Yeah. He left on Thursday for training. So they have over 2 weeks of training. He got his lifeguard certification already, and now they're just like cleaning up the camp and I don't know, having lots of meetings, I guess. So yeah, and actually Isaac and David are traveling to Maryland tomorrow to pick up a car that a friend of ours is giving us because our second car can't be driven anymore. Anyway, it's a long story, but they're going to be gone for the weekend. They won't be driving back until Sunday from Pittsburgh area, which is like a 9-hour drive. So I told him today, maybe we should just celebrate Father's Day next Sunday. Because he's going to be driving the whole day. By the time he gets here, it's going to be late. I don't even know what time they'll be back.
You're going to have an amazing weekend all to yourself.
I am going to be all by myself. I'm not sure it's going to be so amazing, but.
Oh, make it like a spa, self-care weekend where you do things only you want to do just for yourself.
Well, I am going to try to do some things, but I have some doctor's appointments. So, which are not so
fun.
But yeah. But I am going to try to get some knitting done.
I thought I had the best idea. So my dad is having a late life crisis, whatever you want to call it. He's decided to order the entry-level Tesla, and
nice.
It gets delivered supposedly, I think, like this week. So way back in the day, he started and owned an AMC dealership back in the AMC Pacer, Hornet, Jeep days. And he decided when they came out with that Pacer that was such a disaster.
I had one of those.
He was going to sell the dealership and go to law school. So I thought, for his new car, I'll go on eBay and find like an old AMC keychain from those days. Because I thought, think of how far he's come from having that dealership to, getting this fancy new tricked out Tesla. And then it occurred to me, wait a minute, Elon Musk probably doesn't even have keys or something. And then I YouTube like a Tesla key, and it's like it's like a Matchbox car. I mean, Anne could probably talk about it more, but it's like if you touch the door on whatever side of the Matchbox car, that's the door that unlocks. Like it has all these secret tricks to it. And I was like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna work. So now
No, it's a credit card. It's literally a credit card. You hold it up to the car. You don't have to touch anything. You hold it up to the car, but you don't even need to do that. You really operate the car from your phone. So if the phone app is open and you're near your car and you're signed in, it unlocks itself.
Well,
So
I've been getting, because on YouTube, I was looking at like maybe older original.
maybe it's old, maybe older. Yeah.
It was
And
cool, though. It was a car, like you could put it on a table and roll it, and whatever you touched on the car is what would.
Oh, that might be an extra accessory or something that you can buy, like Tesla merch. But ours is all touchless. You don't need any of that. You just walk up to the car and open the handle and it's unlocked. And when you get out, you just leave the car and it secures itself.
It occurred to me that Elon.
And if your dog is with you, you put on the dog climate setting, and the dog and the car is climatized for the dogs, and the screen of the control panel says, "Hi, my owner will be right back. Don't worry, the cabin is an air-conditioned 68 degrees," or whatever you have it set on, big screen so that any busybody who comes by and thinks they're the dog police can, see that the dog is fine.
Oh,
if they can even see the dog through the tinted windows, which you can't.
Wow.
Oh, there's so many like tricks. I was telling Catherine, there are two things that I really don't like about the Tesla. The control panel's completely on screen, but not in your line of vision. So you have to take your eyes off the road to do everything on the screen. So that's number one. And number two is because of that, because there are no controls on the dashboard, or there's a couple controls on the steering wheel shaft, but there's no dashboard lights of any kind. So when you first get it, if you're learning where everything is, you can't see it. Like in the dark, you can't see what's reverse, what's forward, what's windshield, you can't, the controls that are on the drive shaft have this like thin modern font in this almost invisible color against the black so that nothing will be interrupted. None of the style will be interrupted by mere reading.
Ordinary text is so beneath us.
Ordinary car controls.
Required operational information.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that does not fit with our design.
Yeah. Have I mentioned that I wasn't like super on board with getting the Tesla? I actually I love the car. I believe in the electric cars. I believe it's like really important, but they're super expensive. So, but David wanted it, so.
Well, I'm going to take off for the evening. I'll see everyone next week.
All right. Yeah, and it's after 8 o'clock, so it's time to say goodnight. I have some things I have to get going to, but
Great week, everybody.
yeah,
See you
see you
next
next
week.
week.